I'm going to make one of my favorite dressings, aside from my other favorite dressing that I already posted on. This was requested. It's basically a really simple dressing you can probably throw together with things you have in your kitchen right now. And if you don't have everything, it's okay. You can use the base ingredients and add or take away as you want. But it's really simple. The reason I love it is because it's really clean and healthy, and you pretty much have the ingredients all the time anyway. If you're eating clean, you'll have them. So first, the base of this dressing is olive oil and balsamic vinegar. You can pretty much use any kind of vinegar, so if you feel like getting fancy with it later, you can try rice wine vinegar or red wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar. It just depends on how sweet you want it because each one's going to taste a little bit different. So what I do, ultimately I'm going to put it in here, but you can't mix. It's hard to put spices in here, so I'm just going to mix it in here. And I don't really measure anything with this dressing. It's pretty easy to do to taste. So as you're adding things, you can, when you feel like you're done, you can taste it, and then you'll know if it's what you want to eat because it doesn't have to cook. It's the finished product. So just taste it as you're going. But I'm going to add olive oil. You want mostly olive oil and balsamic vinegar. The spices and everything obviously is going to be the least amount. So being that I'm going to mix it in here, I'm not going to fill this whole thing up with olive oil. I can just pour it in there, but I do want a little bit so I can start mixing it together and emulsify it. So start with the olive oil. Then you want to add, always check your olive oil too, because oil goes rancid. You can't keep it forever. So if you open an oil, especially olive oil, and it smells kind of nutty or not like olive oil, it's a bad way to describe it, but it can go rancid. So if it doesn't smell fresh to you, if your nose smells it and it smells kind of questionable, it's probably not good anymore. Next I'm going to add the balsamic vinegar because it splashes everywhere. This I like a lot of. If you're doing it to dip bread in, you probably don't want as much balsamic vinegar because the bread's going to soak it up. But in a dressing, I do like to taste a lot of balsamic and not just olive oil. So this is the base. From here, you can pretty much add whatever spices you want. I always like to do garlic powder. We're house sitting right now, so I don't have garlic powder. I have garlic salt. I typically don't add salt when I'm cooking because food has enough salt anyway, and first of all, food has enough salt anyway. You don't need to add extra salt. Second of all, if it does need salt, it's better to add it at the end, right before you eat, because anytime you add salt when you're cooking, the food absorbs it, so you don't really taste the full value of the salt that you're putting in, and you're going to end up salting it anyway, so it's kind of the risk-reward, the cost that you're paying to put the salt in, you're not getting all of the benefits from. So salt is not really a seasoning anyway, so it's not something you really want to cook with. Salt is a flavor enhancer, so when your meal is done, kind of like when you finish your makeup and you spritz your Fix spray, that's the salt. Salt happens last. That's just, if it doesn't taste good and you need to enhance the flavor, throw a little salt on it. Don't cook with salt. So I'm going to use garlic salt. Again, normally I would do garlic powder, but we have garlic salt, so that's what I will do. And you just want a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. You can taste it and you might want more. Start small because it's easy to over season something. Next I have pepper. I pretty much put pepper in everything when I'm cooking or making something that's not sweet. Pepper is just kind of a standard. So I'll add pepper. And then I also have onion powder. If you like onion powder and you want to add it, go ahead. I'll just add a little bit. I don't always do this. Pretty much if I'm making the dressing and I'm doing it quickly, I'll do the garlic powder, pepper, and that's it, and a little bit of mustard maybe. But I'm just going to add a tiny bit of the... It's really humid here in Hawaii, so this doesn't want to come out. Alright, so I'm not going to add the onion powder. But Tarragon. Recently I was turned on to Tarragon, and if my hair looks like a huge frizz ball, it's because it's like 1,000,000 degrees and I'm just dripping with sweat. Tarragon is amazing. I never cooked with tarragon before. It wasn't that interesting to me. I didn't really know what it was, and then I had it in a pasta salad, and I'm obsessed. I want it in everything. And when you smell it, it just kind of smells perfumey. It's kind of interesting smelling. When you eat it in food, it's just great. It just adds this extra element of, what's that flavor? I need more. It's almost like the MSG of spice, to me. That's my opinion. So I'll add some tarragon. And then, last but not least, you can also do mustard. You don't have to, but just a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't even do a lot. I'm just going to do a little dollop of the mustard in here. And then I mix that together and taste it. And if it tastes good, we're good to go. And this is a really good dressing. You can marinate meat with it. You can put it on salad. You can cook vegetables. Probably add a little more garlic. And again, you can just play around with it and see, you know, tweak it until it tastes good to you. But this is my basic recipe, and I hope you try it and tell me what you think of it, and tell me if you like it or if you added anything or changed anything and if it's good. And you always want to put it in a container, an airtight container, whether it's a mason jar or Tupperware in your fridge. Don't leave it open because it's going to absorb smells from the fridge, so you always want to keep it shut. So that's one of my really favorite clean dressings. Olive oil is very good for you. Don't be afraid of healthy fat. Healthy fat is necessary. It's very good for your brain. It's good for your skin. It's good for so many other functions. So this is a really, really good clean dressing. Very life-giving.